A friend of mine came into town, Neo, and this gentleman, who is a long-term acquaintance of mine, is Indian. You know, he lives in India, and it took him a little time to get over here, but his he had several questions for me that I'm gonna share with you, and a little bit of my, well, I would say a lot, just to tell you a little bit more about myself, just a little bit. It's not too much information. A lot of things why I talk about nature, how I'm able to be so in tune with instincts, Neo, and why I always make jokes about being the Indian chief is because a lot of my genetics is there, and I do a lot of relative reflection on that which is in my blood. And oftentimes I do it so naturally, I don't know I'm doing it. Because if you go back to my audios and you listen to it, I talk about animals, plants, nature, life, spirituality, instincts, and being the Indian chief with my arms crossed. You can pretty much understand how I can easily have a relation with my culture, and so I'm more in tune with them than any other ancestor or trait that I may have in my gene pool. But one of my, I could say, brothers who come from India, and me being in, the Americas for quite some time, and learning of the American way and, the lifestyle here. It's amazing when you are looking at the lens through someone else's eyes, and it's very helpful, and it's a very mind-blowing sort of situation where even if you are outside of the matrix and you are aware and you are conscious, like what some black people say, being conscious about your life, and your third eye is aware, there's pretty much nothing compared to someone else who's been outside who comes in. And him trying to look for a job and looking for a place and just to take care of himself and learn how to adapt to the new environment here in America. There were times where I really didn't need to say anything to him about the people, where he would ask questions, and his questions was it's you'll be surprised, and I'm gonna tell you what the questions are today. Okay. He asked me, how come I'm not married yet? How come I haven't found a virtuous, well-to-do woman? That was one of the things he asked. Another thing he asked, he said, there's something strange about several cultures. And I see how white people carry themselves over here. And I notice that there is a lot of black families as well who lives alone. And it's strange to me. This is what he said, not me. This is what he said. And he said it's weird to come here in the States where everybody's like living on their own island. And he even pointed my life as well, being a I would just say an individual. I don't label myself, just an individual red pill type of guy. No children running around the house unless I'm mentoring and families are there, entertaining, that sort of thing. But no one's stationed there. There's no women running around, which is a good thing. No distraction, but just me in this miniature castle and my Lexus and so forth, so on. And he gave me a life check lesson to reflect upon myself. And usually those times are very, it's educational, and those are times for you to rejoice. I rejoiced that someone else was able to see the conditions in which I myself has already concentrated on. So there was a time where I invited him over and we sat down in the foil drinking a cup of tea. And he looked around the house and he asked the question again after seldomly throwing it at me after picking him up from the airport, all that sort of thing. Have you found a woman yet? Sort of conversation. He said, man, where's your woman at? How come you don't have a woman? Why are you living alone, man? That's how he said it. Like, how is this possible? Like, why are y'all living alone? This is strange. I see this all the time. Like, I know one of my other friends who's just, they don't have anybody there. They just live all by themselves. Like, this is weird. Where's your family at, man? Where's your family? Where's your family? We used to sticking together. We come together. We unite. Brothers, sisters, dads, uncles, where are they? You got all this all by yourself? Then he'll make his lip noise and sit back in the chair and have his disappointed look on his face. He said, America's strange. He said, I don't understand why people are so separate. And they deal with their own problems, but they don't unify. They don't team up. They don't think, man. They don't think. And that's funny because I let that go because I'm used to talking to people on a day-to-day basis who are aware that something's wrong with our people in the red, white, and blue. There's something wrong with them. And there's lots of people who listen, who is actually affiliated with this Academy of Wowmen. And being with me, the professor, who pretty much agrees with a lot of what I talk about. And to them, it's quite disturbing for them and their children. Their children has to have a future, and their children need aware, thinking, and conscious human beings. But these aware, conscious human beings are a lot more computerized and plastic automatons than what they ever used to be. So that means that child's going to grow up in a plastic box. And we're going to do an experiment with that in just one moment. So bear with me. And while I'm talking to you, get out a piece of paper if you want to, or get a little scribble thing on your dumb phone and get ready to draw something that I want you to draw. And getting back to my Indian brother, I let it go and I didn't talk about it because, again, these are very common things. You will be very sometimes people are in a space bubble, like I talk about a lot. People, they go about their humglum day. Their only entertainment is TV and the news. They go to work, sit down, get their coffee, read their newspaper, whatever that they do. It's just the everyday shafted lifestyle, like a fragmented computer. Nothing's truly coming together, but it's there. Whatever's whatever, just a very low frequency lifestyle, and just accept whatever the country, whatever the system provides for you, that's what you get. No questions asked, no challenges, no thinking for your own kind or your people, your children, especially. And so when we hear these conversations, when you will hear it in the future from someone else or someone, some other wise person as well will be on a talk show. There'll be a talk show host. Someone will stand up on a TED talk. Okay. Or some other professor somewhere in a university will begin to try to open up the eyes of the students there who are there to be indoctrinated. And sometimes it's a mind opening situation that we overlook real fast. It's like the light bulb come on and then turn off for a moment, briefly. Because he called me up this morning and he said, good news. I found a job in a warehouse somewhere. I'm like, okay, good. That's a stepping stone. That's one stage before you get to the next stage. Save up your money, do what you can, spend the amount of time there before you can promote yourself, get all the experience that you need and go to the next stage. And what he said was this, which caused me to bring this study and lesson to you today, my Neo. And he said, man, it's weird how a lot of these people are, and he's not that old, he's not in his 40s or 35 or something like that. He's, in his young 30s, 29 to 30s, right? And he's saying, man, all these people, they're happy just, they're happy with the low lifestyle, man. They do their work in the warehouse and they go home. They just like robots. I don't understand, man. And all these, the black people come in there and they just so lackadaisical, smelling like marijuana. And like they just, they always come in late. And I got some white friends that do the same thing. They just want to go out and party somewhere. I got a few of them that want to take me out tonight and get drunk. And like, man, I need to get away from this. Like, I haven't been here that long, but they trying to poison me already. In which I have gave him warning to be cautious, because if he drinks in the same expression that Marcus Garvey said, if he drinks in all the, I would say, fluids and energy of the West, he's going to be poisoned by it. And that's how it starts, by getting comfortable in the Low Valley lifestyle, which is a reference of an audio I made for you. Low Valley people. You need to check that out. Low Valley people. I go in hard on that and in detail. He said, man, I want to be something else. I want to be the supervisor. I want to be the manager. I want to be the boss. I want to get my own job. I need to make my own money, because that's what our culture do. That's what a lot of Indians do, especially from outer countries, and the Arabs, some of the Africans that come over here, Asians that come over here, Mexicans. They'll do the minor jobs for a short amount of time, but they'll save their money up to make something out of themselves. They'll deal with it just for a small amount of time, and they'll do better. They will escalate, eventually. They will do the best that they can with just a little bit, with just a little Nissan pickup trucks, our little Hondas every so often, or whatever's left over. They'll try to modify it, keep it, work on it to go to the next stage. And he had the same mentality, and he was able to do a quick reflection on the people that were there. So he was able to see exactly the results of what some parents don't comprehend today. And great grandparents, or you could say old people, who have jumped off the square and decided to be friends with their children instead of being leaders for them. And I told you this in an audio before. Long gone the days where you can meet a guy who's like King Arthur of Camelot, who was regal, who had respect for himself all the way to the end, and had a position where it was all about what was real, not about what was emotional. At that time, when he was dealing with his castle and dealing with Lancelot cheating or being with Lady Guinevere behind his back, he couldn't be emotional about it. And the reason why he needed to punish Lady Guinevere and Lancelot was because he needed to make an example out of them should anyone do the same to the next kings to come, or be disloyal to anybody who was in that castle. So he had to put his emotions aside and do what was best according to everyone else with a straight face. And if you notice in the movie, I like talking about movies sometimes, so get over it. You're in the academy, and some things I entertain you with. And you notice as well when he was talking to Lancelot, men on a general basis, not some of the blue pill, soft panty wearing men we got today. There used to be a time where men were loyal to each other. Men had codes of honor that they understood only their manosphere could pick up on, where it was sportsmanship, where it was, I understand, bro, where it was, yeah, you did me wrong, but let's fist bump and let's figure this thing out man to man. Okay, now it's not like that. Now it's, I'm gonna get you back, and I'm gonna go into my closet and pull out this out of the shoebox, or golf club or something like that, and come at you, which is mindless and pretty much ignorant. Because what I teach here in the academy is this, and I'm gonna just briefly talk about this, and I'm gonna get back to the story. All right. When it comes to man and woman, I'm just going to use that as an example. If the woman goes out there and chooses to latch on to another man, one way or the other, and they're busted, and you realize this, and you found out that this is happening. Okay. It's completely ignorant and beyond intelligence for you to get upset or feel uncomfortable for the guy that's in her world, because pretty much he has nothing to do about it, whether he is aware that she's in a relationship with you or not. You are in a relationship with the girl, not with him. It was her decision to accept the guy's flirtations, the guy's sneaky behavior, or just plain trying to go underneath the table with this guy. Okay. And his advancement on your own woman or your wife. So the person that you need to be chastising is not him. It will be the woman, because she decided to do that. And she, being your queen or being your opposite, or however that you label her in your world, supposed to be able to be rigid and have virtue and have a certain integrity of love and honor for you, that even behind your back, whether you are out of town for a couple of weeks, you get deployed overseas, you lose your job for several months, or you got to go stay with somebody for a few months, or whatever the case may be, she still should be loyal to you regardless of the temptations of the world. If she herself is not loyal to you, or if she's so weak where she can allow herself to be under attack by an intruder, then she's the problem, not the intruder. No different when you are battling your enemies. The enemy's going to always be there. And as you know, there's no such thing as a single woman. She's going to always have a blue pill beta coming after her almost every day, all the time, every year, before you even get a chance to get a date on a Saturday. They have that advantage, especially in the westernized civilization, where there's no virtue and everything goes. No boundaries. Everybody can do whatever they'll want to do. Okay? So therefore, you should always know that there is going to be someone knocking at her door. So why would you get mad at them doing what they naturally do in this low frequency society that we live in, or low expectation, I would rather say, while we were thinking in our mammal minds? Okay, then her. She's the one, and you decide to be with her. So it will be on her. But getting back to the story. So getting back to Lancelot and King Arthur, you notice that when Lancelot told him that brother to brother, yours, life and death, he was basically telling him that he was still honorable to the king, to him. Right. But there are circumstances that pretty much got out of hand. Right. and the undertone type of loyalty to him. Basically, this isn't personal, and let the lady go. And so he had to, the king thought about that for a moment. So he had to put his emotions aside and think about what Lancelot was actually saying, which is the logic and the calculation of most men at that time. I can't say that about boys today because there's not too many fathers that are good examples, or big brothers or uncles who can actually give these men a sense of integrity that they need. It's rare without them becoming feminized with the sensitive society. And when you take that and you tack that same type of gentleman, that loyalty, that mindset of being this leader, gray beard, holding down the staff and keeping a standard for the society, keeping a standard of the castle, of the country, right? Where that have been such a failure, such a soft-handed, broken pillar now, where the construct of those who are born from those ancestors, those older gentlemen who was once here, okay, now that they are no longer here, we are dealing with the results of the uninspired, half-handed, lazy mentality, weak, sensitive offsprings of the parents or those who did not do their just diligence. So therefore, those kids end up growing up to be 20, 21, 24, working in warehouses, low-hanging fruit jobs, and still be half-handed on it because they lackluster and no intentions of being anything greater. And there are so many foreigners that are able to see that. I have so many associates and friends. I have so many friends, Asians, Indians, Africans from Africa. And we talk about this. And when they come over here, they see it for what they see. Yeah, there's some opportunities. There's chances to grow. And what happens is they're able to see the opportunities and they make the best out of their situation. But those who are here and who've been here for all their life have such a lackluster, compassionless, lazy lifestyle where the foreigners are able to see that. And oftentimes they're disgusted. So in their mind, they're like, well, if you don't want to take it, I'll take it. The Mexicans say, well, if you don't want to take it, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll do it. The Asians will say, oh, you don't want that shop over there? It's been sitting there for 2 years. Well, I'll get together with my people and I'll take it since you don't want to take it. And in the end, you're going to be buying our products, in which y'all do, especially in the black community. Y'all buy the hair, you'll buy the nails, you buy the products that they have, but yet you'll sit there and let this store sit there on a corner for 2 years. And then every child, girl, or teenager, whoever they are, born from these lackluster type of parents and grandparents who only invest in practically nothing but glamour and glips. I'll call it blitzful thinking. Ignorance is bliss. And therefore, they don't think about what's going to happen to their offlings, to their people, to their own children, their great grandchildren, who are going to be buying product from a foreigner on American soil. And then here we go with this expression, Black Power. Where? Last time I've studied what power is about, power is knowledge. And it's one thing to have knowledge. It's useless until you put it to work. When you put knowledge to work, now you can see the power of what power really is when you put that knowledge to work. Knowledge is understanding the situation that you are in, where you don't allow yourself to be bamboozled. Now, that project that I want you to do, in your mind or on that piece of paper, make a triangle. Now, this triangle, I want you to turn it to the right, degrees to the right. I think that might be 180 degrees all the way to the right. That will be flat all the way across, if I'm not mistaken. But the triangle is not flat. So you'll see the tip, the apex of the triangle pointing to the right. So you have a Pac-Man that's going to the left. Okay, the open mouth is on the left hand side. Now, years ago, that wide open tip was society. You know, that was men, that was women, that was the King Arthur type of men and women. Okay, that was people who saw something I'm going to bring to you as well. We're going to take this to a different chapter, break this down even further, right? And over the years, every generation that was born from a failing father, mom, society, you know, those who are only interested in the WAP, those who just want to be cool for the moment, who are disconcerted from themselves, well, disconcerted for others, but only concerned about themselves. I'm going to get mine where I can get mine. Forget about you type of people, right? You know, let me drive my Rolls Royce. You know, let me go ahead and get this ridiculous car and color it with color painted colors and put 32-inch rims on it and 18-inch speakers in the back, which really isn't going to put anybody through college. Just going to make everybody look at you drive across the street and irritate everybody's ears because you want to be looked at. You want to be seen, right? You want to be seen. There's something that, and yeah, you know, white people do the same thing too, depending on what age they are. You know, sometimes they can do their flashing, and it's not about cultural bashing here. Okay, I do realistic talk. I do truth talk. I'm on nobody's side. I'm on truth's side. Okay, so it's not exclusive to one specific culture. You know, white people do their silly things too. You know, they buy stuff that's just, you know, outlandish and crazy as well, that really is insufficient to the culture or to the children, whereas the children are still going through things, yet they want to invest in unnecessary products. But at least generally, a lot of them, compared to a lot of other people, at least they have dealt with their priorities first before having joy with their pleasure. At least there's something that they get out of it. At least that they have established something. At least they own a store somewhere. You know, at least their grandfather has a farm somewhere out of town that you got to get your fruits and vegetables from, while he's driving around in his lowrider or his classic car. He has money now and wealth to be able to purchase that. That has nothing to do with cultural advantage. I'm gonna break it down. Just be patient. Be patient. I'm gonna tell you why I can back that up. So if you have questions about it right now, stay tuned. So at least they get something out of it. It's priority first, pleasure last. But then when you look at other cultures, even Mexicans do the same thing, of course. You know, they may be dealing with that Isuzu truck for a short amount of time, selling tacos out of their minivan. That's okay. But you know what? They're getting their hustle on, and they have long vision. They see something in the future that a lot of us don't see. You know, while we're going around having fun, barbecues at the park, playing basketball and chewing on dumb gum and playing with smartphones that we haven't created or produced. Okay? Because eventually you end up seeing them as well. They have their shop eventually. You know, they will own the name and the building eventually that they rented out for a short amount of time. Now it's their name on the outside. Proud as day with their Mexican flag and their Mexican language. And you got to get your tacos from them, or possibly even whatever else that you may need. At least they get something out of it before you're able to see them in a nicer Honda, you know, in a new Nissan truck, in a large SUV, or in a decent house with 5 kids. Now, I'm going to break this down again. Just keep looking at that triangle for a moment. I have studied geese for a while, and a lot of people don't like geese. I understand geese are They walk around. They drop everywhere. You can step on it when you're walking in a parking lot somewhere, and yeah, they'll chase you if you get too close to them. Some people say that they beak hurt. If you let them get that close, you're sorry, and there's a lot of sorry people. But yet you want to, God, you want to get rid of people who own guns, and you don't want to own a gun yourself, but yet you can't run away from a geese or deal with natural nature. How much more dealing with people who are illegal, people who are going to come at you and they're not geese? How are you going to defend yourself now? Scream? What you going to do like most people? Jesus, help me. Anyhow, you get chopped. They going to get bit by geese. Anyway, ridiculous. Only I can understand children. Kids, they get curious and they don't run that fast. Some of them do. And the geese chase them. There's a possibility. But as an adult, like, we're pathetic. We're quite beyond senseless sometimes. But the thing is about geese, even though they're not the best of birds, even though they're not the smartest of birds, they have something over the common man today. Because here at the Triangle, remember, at the top, we was great once upon a time. We had a better concentration on our instincts in our life. Our definitions was a lot more thorough. And here we go. Listen, words meant something in the past day, meaning there wasn't a lot of puns. There wasn't a lot of words that you can use. You can twist them up and have two different definitions of one word. Most times people were careful of that, and they made clarity of what one word means, so that way they can actually maintain a certain standard and protocol of speech. But nowadays, because we're so bogus in our creations, and by our very nature, because of our downfall, and we continuously going downfall, we accept being deceitful in what we say, because it can be used as a misnomer and a pun. So therefore, should we get into an argument, or should we be checked or corrected, we can actually switch things around. As if we're in a court system, or we're an attorney or a lawyer. And words are a very fascinating thing. You can switch words up to mean something totally different. Do a lot of word play in order to win your debate or your argument. Either way, so it makes the words quite useless. Words are useless anyway, because actions mean more than anything. Actions is what you want to focus on when it comes to people, marriage, and relationship. Words are just squaddle. Nowadays anyway. It wasn't always like that, but because of people walking around in a placebo, they made it that way, because that's our standards today. So this geese without words, when I watch them, the one unique thing about them is when you see one, you know there's going to be another one somewhere. It is. Listen to me. There's going to be another geese around the corner somewhere. Under a car, behind a bush, over a building on the roof. There's somewhere, automatically. And another thing about geese, even though their lifespan may not be as great as the average so-called advanced humans, we're not that advanced. We're not. Actually de-evolved. But yet they stick together. You'll see a family of geese always together. They will flock together on a constant basis. You'll see them, you'll see their children. And they may squaddle with each other and fight each other. Sometimes I can sit back and just watch them fight each other and splay their wings all over the place and beak at each other. And there's always going to be one or two geese that's going to lower their head down to the ground and scare the rest of the geese away. But some of them, they do that for entertainment. They do that for fun, and they polish up on each other like a group of brothers who is just wrestling, arm wrestling, and pumping their chest around. Like, who's the better bird in this group? But yet, when it's all done, they're still standing there with each other. Even though somebody lost a few feathers, are they limping? They're still there dealing with their kind, dealing with their struggles together. When it comes time to migrating, they will migrate together as a group, as a family. And let one of the geese have a egg hatched somewhere, or an egg, and the mother goose is sitting there. Geese, actually, not goose, geese. Let me correct myself. Don't want to confuse y'all. Geese. The mother geese who is laying an egg, and she's on that egg. There's going to be I don't know if it's the male geese, or if it's the big brother geese, or it's just another male geese who's protecting the mother geese while she's having her egg, or warming up the egg. But whoever that geese is, that geese protects the mother and shoos off pretty much everything. And they're even more aggressive during that time. If you come around geese who have a nest somewhere, you won't see the geese coming. You won't. This little bitty bird that's, you consider to be insignificant, isn't human, don't have a dumb phone, ain't driving around in an autonomous car to drive itself. You don't see geese flying across the sky with the that's the stupid thing. That's how I teach here. I just like to show you how stupid we are. Check this out. You don't see a geese who got wings to fly itself fly across the sky on some electronic hoverboard or on electronic wings. They use their own wings. Just like when you drive in a car, you can use your own arms, legs, your own thinking, your look around, your eyeballs, your motor skills, right? But yet we want the car to do it for us. It's the same stupid idea. It's the same ignorance and the same weakness. There's no difference. It's just a product you use, but you're doing the same thing. It's no different than a dog with 4 legs. Dogs can walk themselves. Would it make sense to put a dog on a automatic dog walker machine, and that machine is walking the dog, and the dog don't have to move his legs? If that ever happens, it's only because it's only because something's wrong with the dog's legs. Or the dog came out of surgery, or that dog is getting ready to go. Whatever the case is, something's wrong with the dog's legs, which is why you would see the dog on an automatic walking machine. But other than that, nature uses its own abilities. But we are the only species on the planet who feel as if we need to depend on plastic and computers to operate for ourselves. That's the most disappointing thing and most stomach churning, ridiculous downfall, degraded signal of a disadvantaged country that I could ever imagine. What I mean by disadvantage, thinking like that is a disadvantage to moving forward and being actually progressive in intelligence. We're not doing any justice for ourselves. Even if you think it's cost cutting, it's time saving, and it saves you time. You can go home and push a button and you'll be all right. There is a cost that you're going to have to pay with your lazy activity. Most times there is a price to pay, and you won't find that out until the far future. You won't find it out until you get older. You won't find that out until time comes and you need to use your physical faculties while you being chased by a herd of geese, where now you so lazy, you out of breath before you even take 10 steps. And that geese would tear into your leg or your back or whatever it do. Or dog, or robber, or someone who wants to, and we're gonna go there, who lost everything and want to make everybody else lose everything, and all you can do is just duck behind something, but you're too slow because you're too big. You're so full of calories, and your cholesterol's through the roof. You got a pimple face. You're a smoker. You can't breathe, so you get popped before you even get a chance to get on your knees. So now that you needed to use your physical faculties, you fail yourself miserably. But geese, on the other hand, they're never alone. What did my Indian brother said? What did he say? He said, it's strange coming here to America and seeing all these people living alone, doing things on their own. Going places as this singular vassal of an individual, Whereas geese got better sense than we do. Geese know how to stick together. Even if they don't get along, they still know how to team up and support each other one way or the other. Because when that egg is sitting there on the nest, whether it is the father geese or the mother geese, you won't see them coming. You'll see the nest, and next thing you know, you'll hear something flying towards you. Okay, and that's the end of your day. You're scared for the remainder of the day, rather for that few minutes. The adrenaline will be hitting you, and you'd be like, where did they come from? Where did they come from? Where were they perched on? They did not lose their sight on what was most important to them. They didn't lose their focus on their task at hand. Animals don't lose there's something that they do that we don't do. They look at the future and they say, this is going to be my offspring. This is going to be something I want to leave behind as a success, not a de-evolution. So in that pyramid, as you are looking at it sloping to the right, going down, down, that's the integrity, that's quality, that's honor, and that's virtue on all ranges. That's how we are dealing with our relationships. That's the problem with men and women knowing how to peer bond. That's a lot of women talking about, I don't need a man. I can do it all by myself. Or that's the women talking about, oh, baby, don't depend on a man. You just grow up, get you a career, do it all by yourself. Right? Short-term version. Because here again, it don't matter how you feel. It don't matter what you think about your career, nor even what you realistically, what you think about your life. Because what you think about it really don't mean anything to nature. Nature is something that is genetically bound to you. The way that you are made, your genetic pattern, your mindset don't mean nothing to instincts. Instincts in your mind are two different planets altogether. And when you ignore your instincts, when you ignore your genetic pattern, ignore where you come from, what you're going to be, what you should be, basically. Okay. And you're going to live I would call it the not so American nightmare, the not so American dream, but the American nightmare. Okay. And you just focused on, well, I'm just going to chase money. Let me get the bag. That's it. I'm just going to get the bag. And then when I get ready to get the bag, then nature's bag's going to be waiting for me. No, it won't, because it's going to give you a bag. All right. It's going to give you a bag one way or the other. And there are several bags that it's going to give you. Because what will happen is when you turn around after chasing your plutonic, empty, shallow water lifestyle, and now you want to be instinct. Now you want romance. Now you want to take care of your kids. Now you see the future for what it is. Now you 54, 50, 49, and 45 years old. And now you want to be a preacher, teacher. You want to be this person who see things for what it is because you regret your mistakes now by not being a good example for others or being deceived more than any of them. The only thing that you have ever produced is a society that we're dealing with today where everybody is all for themselves, where there's no glue to put the paper together. Everything is what you consider to be planned obsolescence. I made another audio on that. There's another audio based on planned obsolescence. That's a reference for you. How this happens is through the year when that grandparent, once again, getting back to the studies, and the father, mother don't practice the rigidity of family. Family, unity, respect, honor, and integrity. When those things are taken out and they are sold, they are given away, they are sacrificed for living a temporary plush lifestyle of selfish me. I'm an individual against all other individuals, and I'm going to live on my island and not concern myself for the later generations. Okay. Then one piece, one generation after the next falls. They become an example, especially little girls watching older women do the WAP, do the unvirtuous thing, go online and say, well, and listen, years ago, it was, I think it was three years ago. I met this girl. She was a beautiful white girl too. Beautiful, beautiful white girl, brunette, had wonderful, cute, alluring eyes. Right. I thought I scored because she was the nicest thing. Kind, spending time with her, going places every now and then, go to a coffee shop. I thought we was going down the right path for a moment, but I was sort of blue pilled. I wasn't as acknowledgeable as I was, so I was still trying to figure things out. And as I tell you men on often, usually when you are trying to discover yourself, you're developing yourself. You are at a disadvantage. At this particular time, you will receive awakenings and red pill, and you'll struggle with trying to realize reality because you don't want to accept it as real. So you allow yourself to be delusional for a short amount of time, and in that time you are being taken advantage of. In that time you are being deceived. In that time women can come, take your child, be with you and be with anybody else in her DM boxes or in her secret files. You'll never know about it. Leave work late because she's spending time with someone else. Lie to you and say that she's going on a trip with her family and she's actually going on a trip with several other guys, girlfriends, on beach parties. But she says something to me, and my instincts, just my mere instincts, didn't know too much, not too much about red pill or MGTOW and how unvirtuous most women are, and you can't trust them, as far as you can throw a rock. And she said, that's okay. I asked her one day about the rigidity, the stableness of the relationship we was having and what type of levels we're going to take it to. Of course, again, I wasn't as wise as I am today. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask that question. I'm in control now. I don't ask questions. I just do what I want to do. Asking questions for weak men. I take control, do what I need to do. At that time, it wasn't like that. But she said something that turned me off. She said, it don't matter if the relationship fails. It don't matter because all I need to do is I can go online and get another man tomorrow. She said, I can go online and get another man tomorrow. And she actually told me, a day later, of course, that didn't settle well with me. She told me she was talking to some other guy online and they were just friends. Right? She pulled out her laptop every now and then while we were actually there. Yes, I was that pathetic, of course. And said she was talking to some other guy. And she claimed this guy was her friend. Uh-huh. Then, of course, over a course of a few days, week later, she ended up making excuses. I would say, hey, we're going to hang out this weekend, go Friday. We're going to do something Friday. We're going to do something Sunday. And she would always say, well, I got to spend time with family. I have something over here to do. I have a other set plan that I've already decided upon. Again, red pill moments.